Welcome to Talking Off the Clock, the podcast where we dive into the people behind the titles and the passion that drives them. I'm your host here again, Helen, and today's episode is especially meaningful as we recognize Black History Month. This month is a time to celebrate the achievements, resilience, culture, and contributions of Black leaders and communities, past, present, and future. So joining me today is someone who brings the heart, leadership, and authenticity into everything she does, Nicole Pullen. Hopefully I didn't mispronounce that. Manager in talent acquisition and a proud member of our Champions of Color's employee resource group here at TTEC. So Nicole, thank you so much for being here. I know you're busy bringing amazing talent into TTEC. So thank you for making the time.
No problem. I'm happy to be here today.
Nicole, we want to jump right in as we usually like to do here on this podcast. It's just by getting to know you a little bit. I was, just telling you how it's been a while since we connected, and Nicole was like, Helen, it was just, and Christmas, so it wasn't that long ago, but it feels like forever, Nicole.
It feels like forever, yeah.
Yeah, it's already, February, and we're here celebrating Black History Month, which is an awesome time of year. So with that, Nicole, walk us through your journey. You're in talent acquisition, which means you play a huge important role into shaping, who joins our organization and what shapes, the people that we love working with. So can you share about your career path that led you here?
So I joined the company in March of 2018. Talent acquisition kind of fell in my lap, right? I've never done full cycle recruiting before. Prior to joining this company, I had an HR background. I did training, QA, like a lot of things that involved talking to people a lot, but not necessarily just recruiting, right? So my journey started in Tempe, Arizona. We had massive hiring that we needed to do, and a bunch of us, I feel like about 8 of us started on day one, right? We had a bunch of people that were starting, we had no idea what to expect, what we were walking into, and it just emerged into this journey that I've had here now as a manager. I've had multiple different promotions throughout my time working here, starting off as a recruiter, leading into a senior recruiter, supervisor, and now manager here.
Wow, that's all. In what regions do you manage, Nicole?
So I am based out of the United States. I primarily work out in the United States, but I do have colleagues out in the Philippines, Mexico, Colombia that I work with as well.
Yeah, because we're a global company after all, so it's inevitable. I love that. And talent acquisition is more about just filling the roles, like a lot of people, especially in the everyday, right? Like we do have, we want to make sure that we fill our classes to make sure we meet our business needs, but it's about also opening doors and opportunities for creating opportunities for peoples and careers. So as we celebrate, Black History Month, I'd love to hear, how has your identity as a person of color and experience shaped the way that you approach your work, if at all?
I don't necessarily think that it plays an influence in a way that that most people would think. I mean, I show up to work with the same amount of enthusiasm, effort as anyone, right? Like I always put my best foot forward no matter what it is, right? I know sometimes we live in a climate where we would think that, but for me personally, I don't know, it's a tough question to kind of answer, only because like for me personally, I do my best no matter what it is, no matter who I'm working with, no matter what the hurdle is, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is a tough question to answer just because it's not something that I think about often.
And I think that's kind of like naturally kind of like an awkward, organic response, because when you're treated as an equal, when you have equal opportunity, when you have an environment where that's, but your community is not something that's thought about, like that's really what it is. Like I used to come to work and I do awesome, great stuff, and that's it, right? That's what it comes down to. So would you say that that's the case for you? It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the company that we work for, right, like inclusivity is really important, right? It's not something where, you know, you feel like you're being targeted, excluded, or, you know, you have to identify as something, right? It's nothing that's at the forefront of what we do here at TTEC, especially within the recruiting space. We definitely make sure that we are giving everyone an opportunity based on how they present themselves in an interview. And that definitely is not just something that I'm doing, it's something that we represent as an organization. You are given opportunities based off of your worth ethic, based off of your character, based off of how you present yourself every day, right? I don't think there was a time where I can say that something was held back from me because of, you know, my identity or my race or anything like that. You know, fortunately for me, that has not been my experience. So I would not take that away from someone else who may have experienced that, because it's very important, you know, for everyone to be able to, you know, share their experiences. For me, I just think as an African American, period, sometimes, you know, we may feel like you have to work 10 times harder, or you have to present yourself, or you have to talk a certain way, right? Yeah. I mean, that's a thing. That is a real thing. But for me, like I said, I think within my journey here with TTEC, I have never felt like I had to dull myself down to show up to work or to be who I am. Like, if you know me, everybody knows that I like the introduction of really bringing heart. Like, I'm a very passionate person, which may translate to a louder person, or, you know, a more energetic person, or whatever it is, right? You know, I always give people like the spiel, like, you know, don't mistake my passion for aggression and just things like that, because I am truly passionate about the things that I do every day. Like, not my fault, I'm from New York, so sometimes we come with that aggressive attitude as well, right? But it's truly from the heart, right? It's not from a place of malice or malintent. So I always give people a disclaimer. You know, there may be a time where we interact and you're kind of like, oh, and it's like, no, but it's nothing against you. It's just because if I really have a strong belief about something, or if I feel passionate about something, which TA is something that I'm very passionate about. You know, I am passionate about giving people opportunities, you know, changing people's lives. I love the fact that I'm able to open doors for people, you know, when you are in the recruiting space and you hear people tell you, like, this is my 4th interview, you know, and nobody, you know, I wasn't getting any callbacks. Thank you for giving, you know, helping me through this journey. Because it's not really like, you know, it's giving them tips and ideas and help guiding them through that interview process, right? So when we are able to get them an offer, for me, it's a very fulfilling thing to be able to help change people's lives.
No, I absolutely love that. And watch out, everybody. New York is in the house. She's here to represent. Which is, speaking of representation, as I was hearing you talk again, it's an organic response to have the answer that you are sharing with us when you feel in a place that, you know, you feel celebrated regardless of background, you know, whatever. But the cool thing about, regardless of whether you're part of the people of color community, you're part of the LGBTQ or Latinos like myself, like, I think part of feeling represented is really powerful in a culture and an organization. Do you feel represented at TTEC through your colleagues, through, you know, maybe the ERGs, or tell me a little bit about that? Because I think about every community, what's really powerful is that representation through community. Because, you know, I think it's really cool to connect with people. Like I know I'm also the loudest in the room when I see, especially another fellow Latino. I'm like, well, what's up? I'm no New Yorkan, but, you know, we like to represent in our own way. So talk to me a little bit about representation here at TTEC.
So I think that if you work for other companies, right, some of this space doesn't exist. Like, these ERG groups that we have, it's few and far between depending on the organization. It's not something that they think is important, or, I don't know, maybe no one ever presented the answer, but it's not something that they're going to prioritize, or they may not prioritize it, right? So the fact that we have it, and even if you bring it up in conversation to other people, for me, I would implore you, like encourage you to ask a friend or a colleague at their company, do they do something like this? And more than likely they're going to say, no, we never heard of it. Like, I can't believe they do that. That's so cool, right? And I think for us, just being able to have that in our back pocket, to know that we offer that is something, it's truly meaningful, right? Like the fact, even if you're a part of the ERG group and you don't really have a voice and you just show, it's just the fact that you have a space to show up in, to feel included or to feel supported, means something to someone.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're talking about our ERG, which is our Champions of Color Employee Resource Group, which again stands for ERG, which is a great segue into our next segment. So you're, like you mentioned, you're also a member of Champions of Colors, and you gave us a great teaser in the introduction in segment 1. So I would love to dive a little bit deeper into, what can you take us a step back into what is an employer resource group, and specifically what is Champions of Color? Do you guys have a mission? Kind of walk us through what it's all about, who can join, what it promotes, so we can learn a little bit.
Yeah, so Champions of Color is an ERG group, employee resource group. Correct. I'm horrible with acronyms.
Yep, you got it. You got it right.
We have 1,000 acronyms, so to remember all of them, it gets a little intense. So it's just a group that supports and advocates for people of color within the organization. We offer mentorship. We offer leadership development. We can advocate for people if needed. One of the things that I enjoy most about the ERG group is it's just a safe space to be able to come and show up and just express your feelings and frustrations about what you're feeling. It could be personally, it could be within the organization, it could be something that you just need to get off your chest and just talk to someone about. Have you experienced it? What do you recommend I do? How do you, how should I approach this? How do you feel about this? Right? Because oftentimes you feel isolated when it comes to certain things, especially being an African American in the United States. You do often feel like there's nowhere to run, and to have people and allies really that you can come in and to be able to express yourself without feeling judged, or that's just one of the main things that we say. This is a safe space, and when we ask questions and when we ask for your ideas or your feelings, we want people to understand that it doesn't leave this group, right? And that's really important for you to be able to just get it out, and you go back to work and you just feel better that load is lifted off of you.
I love that. So it sounds like really psychological safety is massive for you guys, which I think is a reflection of freedom to be authentic. And another theme that I've heard in the group is also the importance of advancing careers, which again kind of really sets you up for a really good conversation being in the TA space. But I wanted to specifically ask, why is that combination of being authentic, right, and career advancement, so important for Champions of Color?
Well, I mean, the very direct answer is, a lot of the times people feel like they get intimidated by applying for certain positions because they don't think they're going to make it past the interview process, or their resume is not going to be reviewed for whatever reasons. It could be past biases that they may have experienced, or it could be a name bias thing. It can be just anything, right? I just think being an African American, you experience so many things that it's really like a loaded question at this point, right? So for me, it was my main thing was seeing how many great leaders we had in this organization, and the spaces that they were in, and the influence that they had with being a person of color, right? That was just like, wow, like this is something that's totally achievable for whatever reasons, right? Just being able to have them as allies and things like that. So that's why I think mentorship is really important, for you to be involved with someone where you feel like they can encourage you, they can support you, they can help you. It could be anybody. If you want to get into that space, whether it be IT, look for someone in the organization that is an IT person. It does not have to even be a person of color. It can be anyone that you trust and know. I want to make sure that I highlight that, right? Like, it's not always this is the only person that you need to talk to because they're African American, whatever it is. It could be you, it could be, your leader, it could be whoever, anybody that you feel is going to uplift you and encourage you and help you, is a perfect mentor for you, right? Because they are doing something that you are aspiring to do. So it's just really important for you to start having those conversations with people and kind of just get rid of that imposter syndrome, because I really think we suffer deeply from imposter syndrome, thinking we can't do something just because we don't have the right skin color or credentials or whatever it is. You never know the opportunities that you are holding yourself back from because you're afraid to ask those questions.
Yeah, the way that you're describing Champions of Color is really, number one, inspiring. And it sounds like it makes you feel almost like you're not alone. It sounds like a companionship group of like, you can walk through different avenues of like career advancement and also feeling, like I said, authentic in your journey while in an organization. And I think that's really encouraging. Like you said, a lot of companies don't have these dedicated groups where you can feel like as part of one community and you got each other's back. It sounds like you guys really pour into each other's growth. And I'd love to hear that, allyship is a big element of that in the form of mentorship or in the form of, again, support, because I'd love to join. So, so that sounds like an incredible group. And, I have to put the plug in if you're perhaps listening to this and this sounds perhaps unfamiliar, right? Like, this is not a group that you have in your current organization. This is not something that you've experienced in your workforce or in your industry and are open to, experience for yourself. Check out TTECjobs.com. We have plenty of opportunities where we welcome you. And this ERG, Employee Resource Group, is available globally, right, Nicole?
Yeah.
So whether you're joining us from Philippines or US or New York, where Nicole is, from, you can certainly join this group and be part of this amazing community.
Yeah, no, it's really, you do not have to be African American or identify as African American to join the group. Allyship, I think that is just the most important thing, just in general, is just being able to learn different cultures and experiences and being able to advocate for people when they're not around, right? And advocacy only works if you educate yourself on what those other individuals are experiencing. You hear oftentimes, I didn't even know that was your experience. I didn't know that you felt that way, or you could have felt that way within your own culture. And you were like, I didn't know someone else was experiencing something like that as well, right? So it's very important for us to kind of blend together to make sure that we all understand each other, because when everyone has a seat at the table, that's when real conversations happen. But that's also when real change starts to happen, because you're not just looking at things from your lens, you're being able to understand and see things from other people's perspective.
Let's talk about Black History Month. It's here. We're here to celebrate. And on a more personal note, Nicole, what does this month mean to you in particular?
I would just say reflection. That's one of the main things that I like to make sure that I do during this time, is just reflect on, how far we've come. Unfortunately, in full transparency, some of the things that we've experienced in the past it's here, it's real, it's live, it's in our face. There's no way, you know, to sugarcoat it and to pretend that it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So right now, Black history for me and for the things that I pour into my children and in my life is just being proud of who you are and representing yourself well and not being afraid to stand up for what you believe in and who you are, and just remembering the fact that you are worthy of being in the space that you are in, and being who you are and having the same rights and availability and all the things as anyone else.
Absolutely. And furthermore, you know, kind of in that same vein as, you know, not just pouring into the future of, like, you know, your kids into what they should take this month in and how they should present themselves to society, but also how do you think organizations can move beyond celebration and into meaningful year-round action, or, you know, beyond 1 year? What would you love to see organizations do to really action, and just, you know, go beyond Black History Month celebration?
Mm-hmm. I just think allowing people to have a voice and making sure that everyone has a seat at the table, right? I think if, as an organization, if you look around the room and you don't see representation at that table, I think that should start other conversations, right? That's just what I think. You know, I think representation matters. There's just really, that's just the answer. You have to have people around you that represent multiple different point of views and not just one, because it doesn't drive change. It doesn't, you know, foster meaningful connections. It doesn't do any of those things if everyone doesn't feel like their voices are being heard. And I think, like, Black history for me is not just, we all know it's not just February. It's all year, but it's beyond just celebrating the history of what happened. Just like you said, it's just about making sure that those things don't get lost into translation and we move forward and we're not moving backwards, is really what I think.
For someone listening right now who identifies as Black or, again, African descent and might be early in their career, what advice would you give to them?
If we're saying early in your career, again, like I said, I don't want anyone to feel like because you are African American, don't apply for that role. We're going to scratch that right now. You are worthy of anything that anyone else is being offered. You deserve to get any opportunity that anyone has, right? If that is your qualification, don't be afraid to go out there and try and apply, and see what happens. From a mentorship, right? In my recruiter era perspective, you know, that resume will get you an interview, but who you are and your attitude will get you that job offer, right? Sometimes it's about your willingness to learn, and how you are going to earn that job offer, right? Because it's not always, they always may be a more qualified candidate than you. No matter who you are, no matter what race you are, there's always going to be someone who is more qualified than you interviewing for these positions. But a positive attitude and eagerness to learn will set you apart from anyone else, you know, and just be your authentic self. There's a term in TA, people always present their representatives in the interview. Be yourself. Don't show up as one person and then you're going to be a next person 3 months later. That doesn't work, right? There's nothing wrong with showing up as authentically who you are, because you want to work for someone who's going to accept you and take you for who you are, not someone you're pretending to be.
No, I absolutely love it. And in the same breath of, like, growth and advice, for those listening who might be considering a career with us, so shifting the lens a little bit, especially professionals who are looking for a workplace where they can grow and feel supported, like we've mentioned, like, you know, in a community like this, or an organization that just even nurtures the space to just feel like your authentic self, what would you want them to know?
Mm-hmm. Well, TTEC has tons of career development, career opportunities. We have a library of things where you can go in, get certifications, and develop yourself. We have tuition reimbursement. I myself in the process of earning a bachelor's degree, 100% free, out of pocket. That's TTEC, right? So if you are willing to pour into yourself, TTEC has the resources available to you. I have not met a single leader, trainer, team lead, whoever it is, where an employee has came to them and told them they were looking to develop themselves and they were shut down and not given the opportunity to go through some of our programs that we have to build them up to get them where they need it to be. It's something that we pride ourselves on. It's something that my recruiters are hammering down in that interview process. They're talking about their own development within the interview. Anyone on my team has had a promotion once or twice throughout their career here with TTEC. So it's really something that we foster and we truly live. It's not something that we just talk about. It's our own personal experiences. But again, as I mentioned before, you have to have the willingness to want to do the work, right? If you say you want to do it, we are going to provide you the resources to do it. And it's on you to continue to grow yourself if that's something that you want to do.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think what you're really articulating is that you have the power to take control of your future at TTEC. And right, it's not about race, color, background. It's really about disposition, ambition, dreaming, right? Like, and being able to go after that. So hard work. I would agree with you, Nicole. Like, I mean, your journey being here since 2018, like you said, it's been a long one. And now you're a manager. So it's been quite the trek to really, develop yourself. And I can attest, we do these podcasts with so many different stories and we meet so many people around the world. Nicole's story is not unique. So despite your background, growth is possible so long as you want it for yourself, right? Like, because you have to want it. And again, I love that Champions of Color, this group, and TTEC does support that message. And not just support it, we show up for it, right? Like you said, like, there's amazing, conversations happening and career, and psychological safety where people can really thrive, and mentorship. So I hopefully everybody listening and watching us can feel inspired about what their future can look like when they're in control, and with TTEC as a good companion in that journey.
Yes, and we want you. We want you to be a part of our group. We're a really small, tight-knit group right now, and we want to be able to expand, especially globally. It's something that we are really looking forward to in 2026 on how we can continue to expand our network base and the people that we have, because we truly want to be more involved. But we're such a small group right now, like it's really hard for the 5 of us to do all the things. So we employ more people to join. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime that you have any questions, or if you want to join our group, we are welcoming and we would love to have you.
Okay, so for upcoming employees, you heard it from Nicole, or current employees listening, reach out. We'd love to have you part of the Champions of Color group. And there you go. That's your plug, Nicole. So thank you so much for sharing your story. Again, I know you had to take a pause in your day from, again, bringing incredible talent in their doors, but your perspective, and I can definitely feel your heart in the conversation. And I think your experience is really valuable for all of us to learn from. And I love to see also your passion around being a part of Champions of Color and the great work that you guys are doing. So thank you for joining.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Black History Month is a time to honor resilience, excellence, and progress, but it's also a reminder that building inclusive spaces is an ongoing journey. Champions of Colors, an ERG here at TTEC, continues to nurture a community rooted in mentorship, like you heard here today, authenticity, leadership access, and fellowship. And it's open to anyone that wants to support its mission. If you're interested, again, I can't help but put in the plug. Be sure to fill out the membership form and become part of this growing group once you are an employee of TTEC. So we'd love to have you. And to everyone listening, thank you again for tuning in to this Talking Off the Clock episode, season 4. So thank you for joining us on this journey. We're so excited that we continue. And if you're looking for a career, you already know, you can grow, lead, and bring your whole self to work here at TTEC. So explore opportunities at ttecjobs.com. Until next time, take good care of yourself, stay inspired, and keep building community on and off the clock.